There's a very specific kind of tired you know too well. It's quiet. It settles over you, heavy. You're standing in the middle of your own home. You look around, and you realize you have no idea where anything is supposed to go. There's the pile of clothes on the bedroom chair. That chair stopped being a chair months ago. There are the stacks of unopened mail, slowly swallowing your kitchen counter. There are the random little things pushed to the edges of your desk, a pair of shoes abandoned halfway down the hall. And you realize you never really clean your house. People call it laziness. They call it a lack of discipline. They assume anyone living this way just doesn't care, that you don't value where you live. But let's look at it another way. What if a room that's always messy isn't a failure of character? What if it's actually a mirror of the mind? Not being able to clean is rarely about not trying. More often, it's the sign of a brain that's completely overloaded. Living in clutter doesn't feel good. You almost never enjoy it. It's not some relaxed, free-spirited choice you made. A cluttered home is really just too much stuff filling a space until it feels chaotic. And that clutter quietly eats away at your well-being. It strains your relationships. It sits in the background as a constant low-level stress. Your nervous system reads that environment, and it treats it like a threat that never goes away. Researchers actually studied this. They found that women who described their homes as cluttered had higher cortisol levels. Higher cortisol means chronic stress. So you end up trapped in a cruel paradox. When you live in a disorganized home, you tend to feel more stressed. You focus less. You're emotionally worn out. And that same exhaustion is exactly what makes it impossible to act. You just can't find the energy to clean. For a lot of people, this paralysis has a name. It's called executive dysfunction. Executive functions are the mental skills that let you plan, that help you start a task, that let you actually finish it. Executive dysfunction means those skills don't fire the way they should. So starting anything feels impossible. Managing time gets harder. And keeping a home or a workspace organized becomes a mountain. This is especially true if you have ADHD. ADHD makes clutter incredibly hard to manage. Inattention plays a huge role. Impulsivity makes it worse. And a shaky sense of how long things take makes the whole thing feel unwinnable. Together, those traits make it nearly impossible to start and finish decluttering. Here's how it goes. You pick up a shirt. You carry it toward the closet. On the way, you spot a book. That book belongs on the shelf. So you take the book to the living room. And there you find a dirty coffee mug. Suddenly you're washing dishes. And you're still holding a pair of socks. That's your working memory dropping the thread. You forget what you were even doing. And the clutter just keeps piling up. Because every object is screaming for your attention. And they're all screaming at the exact same volume. Your brain can't decide what matters first, so it just shuts down. And then there's the heavy gravity of depression. Depression comes with its own set of weights. Low energy, no interest in anything, a deep, sinking sense of helplessness. You carry that weight everywhere you go. And basic self-care, like cleaning, starts to feel impossible. Washing a single dish feels like too much. Folding a towel takes more than you have. Sorting the mail is completely out of the question. So a messy home is common when you're living with depression. That deep fatigue strips away your ability to cope. It takes your capacity to keep up a space. And then it turns into a cruel cycle. Studies show a hard truth. Clutter and disorder can actually make depression worse. They can pull your well-being even lower. The mess becomes a physical version of what's happening inside you. It reflects how empty you feel. And looking at it only confirms the darkest thought, that you're failing at life. There's another hidden reason you might avoid cleaning. The pure terror of making a decision. Clutter is kept alive by indecision and by procrastination. Everyday mess is really just a pile of choices you haven't made yet. Every single piece of paper wants an answer. Every old ticket stub demands a verdict. Every sweater you never wear asks a question. Do I keep this? Where does it even go? What if I need it someday? Sometimes you get stuck on the decision itself. You just can't make the call, and it becomes a habit. That habit turns into avoidance, because it's always easier to set the thing back down. You tell yourself you'll decide later. Researchers looked closely at this, and they found that indecisive people feel the weight of clutter far more than decisive ones. That pile of mail isn't just paper, it's a tower of postponed choices. And this hesitation is fragile, which is exactly why nagging backfires completely. Shaming you doesn't work. Being told to clean only makes it worse. There's a concept for this. It's called psychological reactance. It's our instinct to push back the moment we feel our freedom being taken. That reactance can make you avoid cleaning altogether. You dig your heels in when you feel pressured. Self-determination theory explains why. Our motivation runs from outside pressure all the way to something that comes from within. When cleaning is forced on you, you feel controlled. Maybe a partner just wants to avoid the embarrassment, and you're far less likely to keep it up. It feels like a demand, not a choice. But when the value becomes yours, everything changes. When you decide for yourself that a calm space matters, you feel free and capable. And that inner shift is what makes order actually last. We also have to draw a clear line. A chronically messy room is one thing. A clinical condition is another. Hoarding disorder is a real diagnosis. It's marked by a genuine inability to let things go, by extreme accumulation that damages your quality of life. Everyday clutter is different. Everyday clutter is just a buildup of ordinary things. Hoarding brings real distress when items are taken away. It's a completely different emotional experience. And a home that's messy and loud causes real, measurable harm. When a house is full of noise and junk and constant disorder, it directly affects a child's development. Kids growing up in that have a harder time controlling their impulses. They struggle to shift their focus from one thing to another. The chaos chips away at their short-term memory. Big studies show that a chaotic home makes it harder for children to think clearly, do well in school, and handle their emotions and friendships. And the mess strains the family too. It leads to more fighting between parents and kids. Parents in these homes tend to be less supportive. Put simply, the space a child grows up in shapes how their brain develops. A constantly messy home creates a stress that touches everyone in it. And yet, messy isn't always bad. Clutter often does hurt concentration, but people are wonderfully complicated, and our spaces reflect that. One experiment explored this. People working in a messy room were more likely to reach for new, unexpected options. They came up with ideas that were rated more creative than the ones from a tidy room. That's not a small thing. It suggests a messy space can sometimes spark creative thinking. It can help you break out of the usual patterns. Sometimes disorder sets the mind free. It loosens the grip of everyone else's expectations. Sometimes a messy space is really just a creative incubator. So where does that leave you? Maybe you're sitting in a room right now, surrounded by physical proof of your own exhaustion. And here's the truth it leaves you with. You are not broken. Your mess is only a symptom. It reflects an overwhelmed nervous system, a working memory that's maxed out, an emotional reserve that's run dry. But there's real hope here too, and it's hidden in the simple act of tidying up. Experiments show something fascinating. Both real and even pretend cleaning after a stressful moment lowers anxiety. It calms how your heart responds to stress. Small daily cleaning may actually help you cope, which points to something powerful. The act of cleaning can restore a sense of control. It can help you steady your emotions. Tidying is grounding. It helps when the whole world feels unmanageable. So if you never clean your house, don't do it to become good. A clean house doesn't make you a better person. Do it to take back your own space. Do it to calm your own nervous system. And you can start incredibly small. You can make one single decision today. Forgive yourself for the mess around you. It kept you safe. It held you when you were too tired to function. But your energy will come back. And when you're finally ready, start small. Clearing your space is a gentle way to start clearing your mind. And if you saw yourself somewhere in these words, you are not alone. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more quiet explorations into the psychology of our everyday life.